From the News Channel 5 Network, this is SportsLine.
Hey there, SportsLine on your television. Steve Lehman here with you. Glad you are here with us on this Monday night on News Channel 5 Plus. 737-7767 is our number tonight. You guys more than welcome to call in and get in on the discussion. I want to spend some significant time tonight, if you'll join in, talking about the NHL All-Star Weekend here in Smashville. What were your impressions? Did you go down? Did you take part? Did you watch the game? Did you go to the game? Did you go to Winter Park, check out any of the activities there? Did you go into the NHL's fan fair? Just enjoy the buzz about downtown and really the city of Nashville during the course of the week. What were your impressions of the weekend and how things came off? 737-7767 is our number. I'd love to get thoughts from you guys on that tonight. We can also talk about the Pro Bowl, Delaney Walker, Jarrell Casey, I think both showing out, frankly, in that game. We'll hear from Delaney coming up. John Burton chatted with him last week while he was in Hawaii. We'll also probably get some reaction from some players from the NHL All-Star Game as well. Here are my thoughts about the NHL All-Star Game for the weekend. I cannot applaud the Predators, the city of Nashville, and really hockey and sports fans in this city enough for the show they put on this weekend. I always have high hopes for Nashville as a city in terms of anytime they're throwing a big event or a party or putting on something that is entertainment worthy for people. That is one of the things we do very well. That is one of the things that Nashville does better than just about any place else. But even I couldn't imagine the complete smashing success that this NHL All-Star Weekend was in this town. Everything was perfect. And that's not hyperbole. When you go to big events or frankly anything in the world and you get opinions of people, even things that are overwhelming successes, there's always someone that has something bad to say about it or something to complain about the event. You know, especially when you're talking to the media, you'll get some guy who complains that the media buffet, the free media buffet, wasn't warm enough or didn't have enough of a selection or something like that. You didn't even have that in Nashville. Literally every I was dotted and T was crossed when it came to the planning for this. And the Predators deserve a ton of credit. The Nashville Sports Council, Scott Ramsey, our good buddy over there, they deserve a ton of credit for the planning on this. And frankly, the city of Nashville, straight up to the top. Former Mayor Carl Dean, current Mayor Megan Barry, both had input on how this was going to go, what this city was going to do. And then to the citizens of Nashville, both the people who just showed up to the events and helped populate them and created some of the buzz to go along with all the international flavor of people who showed up from elsewhere for the hockey this weekend, but also to our great friends in the music industry in this town who are so much of the spirit and vibe of this city. They weren't getting paid a lot to show up and put on some of those concerts this weekend. They had 10 free concerts in Winter Park with some of the biggest names in music. They were free, so they weren't getting money out of that, or at least not much. But yet they did it because they wanted their city to shine this weekend, and boy did it. When you talk to anybody around the NHL, Nashville hit a grand slam home run. The convention center is a beautiful space. It's big. It's got lots of purposes to it. It was a great home for the NHL fanfare, and it is directly across the street from the arena. The Winter Park idea, what a great use of that space. Lots of cool activities and just a fun place to walk through, frankly. That's where we were set up for most of the weekend, and it was always buzzing with people to go down there. And then you have the stage right there in front of the Country Music Hall of Fame, an incredible backdrop, and all of those artists playing. I mean, it just absolutely rocked the city for much of the weekend, and I hope Nashvillians got a chance to get out there and really get involved in it, because the guests of the city this weekend were blown away by how cool we did this event. And I get the sense today, two things. If you weren't from Nashville, you thought, why don't we have this game here every year? Because this is awesome. Everybody I talked to from the NHL, people who cover it, people who played in the NHL, even some of the All-Stars that were here this weekend, all of them said this was the best All-Star weekend that they could remember, the best one that they had ever been a part of. This city totally set the bar for what's next to come when it comes to NHL All-Star games. So that's one thing. And the other thing I think that we need to start the discussion, I've said it before, but this weekend ingrained it in my mind, is the fact that this city is built for hosting these events. Absolutely built downtown for hosting mega sporting events, or really mega events of any kind. The only thing now that's holding us back from the biggest things on the planet, frankly, is the situation we have at Nissan Stadium. And it's not that Nissan Stadium is a bad stadium by any means at this point, but at 16 years, 17 years, however old it is now, we're talking about a facility that's probably in the bottom third of the NFL. And it's completely outdoors. Obviously, there's no roof or a retractable roof to talk about there. And it's susceptible to the elements. And when you talk about some of these biggest events, they don't want to be susceptible to the elements. So that's the next step to me for Nashville. It's proven that it can throw the party for any one of these events and make it as good as anybody, maybe better than anybody else can do it. But right now, we don't have the stadium to host the next tier of events. Super Bowls, college football playoff games, maybe the SEC football championship game, Final Fours in basketball, World Cup games potentially if that game, or big international soccer games, more than we've had in the past just in Nissan Stadium. All of those things are on the table. Winter Classic is another event that you improve the stadium, you probably increase your chances of bringing in the Winter Classic to town. I'm not saying that we need to start thinking as a city, okay, Nissan Stadium, it's done for. We absolutely have to renovate tomorrow, or we've got to build a new stadium tomorrow, or whatever the case may be. But I do think it's time as a city we start to have the discussion of what the next step is. Because what I can tell you, whether it's renovation or building a new stadium, those things don't happen overnight. They take a lot of planning. They take probably some town hall meetings, maybe referendum votes, all those sort of things. There needs to be a plan in place, though, because that's the next step. Nashville is growing and has become, frankly, an international star in terms of how great our community, how great our city is, and the shows that we can put on for people throughout the world. It's ready to take that next step, but that's the thing that's holding it back. So who's ready to take the forefront on that discussion? What is the plan? I know there's probably been some cursory discussions about this at city levels with the Nashville Sports Council, other folks like that. But what's the next step we take? Curious to get your thoughts on that as well tonight. 737-7767 is the number. We begin tonight with Robert. Robert, good evening. You're first up tonight on SportsLine.
Yeah, how you? Hello?
Hi, Robert. You need to turn down your TV to be able to hear her.
Oh, I'm sorry. My wife's all excited. But, yeah, I lived in Detroit for 37 years. I've been out here in Nashville for 10 years and flew my cousin out to go to the All-Star Skills Competition. And I got to tell you, Nashville, I mean, it just blew him away. I don't go downtown. I live in Portland, Tennessee. But the show that they put on, the great people down there, and my cousin hated country music, but when I dropped him off at the airport today, he loves country music now.
Well, there's something to be said about being able to see it live. It's not just on your car radio or whatever, but you actually walk downtown and you see these huge names do it. Tell me, Robert, besides just going into the skills competition, did you make a day of it? Did you do the fanfare or Winter Park or just hit the honky tonks on Broadway? What else did you do besides just the skills competition for your day Saturday?
Well, I picked them up Friday around noon, and we went downtown Broadway. A friend of mine plays at Legends in the morning. And we had a great time there. Went to Jack's Barbecue.
Sure.
And then we came back, and the skills competition wasn't until Saturday. And then there's no Waffle Houses in Michigan. He had to go to a Waffle House. So I took him to one in actually Franklin, Kentucky, which is just a little bit away from Portland. And he's got a picture with his White House or Waffle House hat on and everything.
Nice. Well, Robert, we appreciate the call. I think that's one of many stories of people who enjoyed this weekend, especially out-of-towners who really enjoyed this weekend. And I think what you hit on there is one of the things that really separates Nashville when you start talking about these big events, and that is the central location and the layout of downtown. If you went down there, the skills competition, the game, Bridgestone Arena, that was the epicenter of the weekend. That's where the hockey stars congregated and, history for downtown was made. But directly across the street on the south side is a gorgeous convention center that could host anything in the world and was the perfect host for fanfare. Directly across the street on the east side was Hall of Fame Park, which they renamed Winter Park and had all these activities for the week. You had adjacent to that the stage on Demembrium right outside of the Country Music Hall of Fame, where all of these free concerts were throughout the course of the weekend. And then obviously just to the north and east side of Bridgestone Arena, you walk out of the plaza, you're right there on Lower Broadway with all of the honky tonks and the food places and everything going on. And the buzz was just tremendous all weekend. And that's what you heard, just a buzz about Nashville. And the other thing you heard from people who didn't know coming in was that there is a real hockey spirit in the city of Nashville. And I know some of you out there may be shaking your head and saying, I don't care about hockey. That's not my thing. But there is a hardcore group of hockey fans in Nashville. Is it as big as the NFL? No, it's probably not as big as college football in a lot of ways right now in the South. But there are hardcore, passionate hockey fans here that have made Nashville and made the Predators a viable hockey market. And for people who came in from Canada and Europe who love this sport and think of this as one of the real showcases for the sport throughout the course of the year, they walked into Nashville and just saw a spirit that blew them away. The excitement about having all these people out there, the red carpet event on Saturday, speaking of something Music City does very well, the layout perfect there, but you have all these hockey stars walking down the red carpet on Saturday, and I mean, it was 20 and 30 people deep in spots trying to get pictures of the red carpet. And you looked up on the Music City Center, there's kind of a, I don't know what floor it is, maybe second or third floor, but there's sort of an observation deck or just a place where you can go outside there. There were people lined up back there because that was the best vantage point they could get over all of the crowd. It was just an amazing scene, and when you talk to the players, they really appreciated how much Nashville has embraced the Predators and embraced hockey and the show that it put on this weekend. Want to hear more from your thoughts tonight. What did you think of NHL All-Star Weekend? What did you take part in? And what do you think about what's next? Kind of my idea of Nashville needs to start the planning process for how we get more of these cool events in the future. 737-7767 is our number. We'll get back to your phone calls. Lines are open. We'll talk to you if you want. Next, here on SportsLine.